Thank you.
Regardless if it's a serpent or an X-ray or an Othna or a Mugen, it could be a buggy, it could be a monster truck, or even a truggy. Now stick with me here, because forget about whether it's a C-hub or a pillow ball or maybe a kingpin.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, it damn sure doesn't matter if you use a acronym plate or a drag link. None of that matters. Oh, I get the fact that you over there are running a steering servo with 650 ounces of torque at 0.07 second, and the guy across the way, he's rocking one at 74 ounces at 0.14 seconds. It's all the same. It's all the same, mixed up together.
It's steering.
And trust me when I tell you that one of the most important domains within the remote controlled, or radio controlled, whatever you prefer, surface hobby is the ability to steer. And to do this, you have to, all together now,
Properly maintain.
Properly maintain your steering assembly. That's what this video is about. Now, I'll tell you a few things. So now that you understand the single common denominator among these vehicles, if you want your rides to run correct, I assure you this is an area that you want to focus on. I've learned this over the years. It's common sense you think, but I don't know. So what I'm going to do is drop some random steering maintenance tips that I've implemented over the years. Almost every single one of them is an area where I had to learn the hard way. Again, my charter here, at least for this video, is to pass along this knowledge so that you guys don't make the same mistakes as I do. I'm going to focus solely on maintenance. In other words, what you need to do to keep it at or better than stock. Finally, I do have such a passion for this that I kind of rambled a little bit. I have to make this two-parter. Sorry guys. But I've got a lot of great information. I think I do anyways. I would find great information. So this is part one. Part two will be dropping real soon, as in tomorrow. Until then, however, there's something more important that I want to get at.
Oh shit, run, Muggy!
Hey kids, well, I'm glad you're ready to learn about this. In all sincerity, it really is important. I do have some lessons learned that I want to share with you. To that end, I've been doing this YouTube shit for a long time. I mean, you guys, this is, trust me, a long time. And one of the things that I've learned, at least over the past maybe decade, is that multi-part videos, they never do very well. Which is fine, because I really don't, this can do well or I can't do well, it doesn't matter to me. What does matter to me, though, is you guys pay attention and get the information you need. So, if you're only going to watch one of these parts, I wouldn't watch this part, I would watch part two, which I hope to have published by end of week. Everything's already filmed and stuff, it's just a matter of getting it, doing the compression, all that good stuff that I do. There will almost definitely be a part three, which would be my second choice. But if you really want to, be with it, watch them all. Beginning with this shit. Right here. Alright, remember guys, your old Uncle Nerd here is lacing you up with some real shit. Now, if you take the approach of some Marcy wife, Muggy, who essentially puts value and performance based on the price of items in this hobby. From my experience, and I have a little bit more experience than Muggy, and that is the old adage of you get what you pay for is not the case in this hobby. So as an example, this Truggy here, my 801XT, I purchased it for $99, including shipping. So what happens is you'll have a newbie like Muggy come in and essentially attempt to become an overnight expert. So she watches a bunch of videos and studies and wants to be like what she's seeing in these videos, and repeats a lot of the things and essentially just speaks very confidently about subjects that she's only heard about and not necessarily experienced. So with a $99 vehicle like this, in her mind it's a, what does she call it again? A rookie whip, a scrub car or something, right? But here's what she's not understanding, and how you don't want to listen to people like her. I know a gentleman who purchased this vehicle less than a month before I purchased mine, and he paid $500 for it on A-Main Hobbies. That was the average price prior to this sale, the clearance sale that Tamiya did. So I actually pre-ordered it. They had a select number that they were going to allow out, etc., etc. This was the Truggy that Jeremy Lutz used to ether people across the country with. Now listen closely, because this is extremely important. So it's a $500 vehicle. Well, now things changed, right? So now it's a badass whip. It's a race machine. This is an interesting vehicle because it is probably the vehicle that performs the best out of my entire fleet. In other words, just its agility and the way it handles. However, if we were to take something, let's say, a ready-to-run Hyper 7, in my opinion, in my experience, a ready-to-run Hyper 7 is twice as durable as this $500 vehicle. At least twice as durable. Now here's where I laugh, and I think I speak for a lot of people who are in the know, and that is, make sure you use common sense, because again, you'll have someone like Muggy who, she'll disagree, which is fine, except for the fact
she doesn't own either vehicle.
Makes sense. Now, for those that don't know, the new happening groovy catchphrase that's taken the RC hobby by storm, one that's crossed into the mainstream culture, it's your pivot balls. Actually, let me handle up on a few stripped screws right quick. About this 801XT, while it might not be the most durable vehicle in the world, good lord, it's got some pretty hard screws.
But you already know he doesn't give a fuck. He's like that. Bring those stripped screws on. Biatch. Oh, okay. I see how it is.
Oh, he was just kidding. Put the gun down.
Alright, so concerning slop, one thing I want to show you guys is, I don't like slop. I understand the benefits of having a smooth, fluid vehicle, which I'm all in favor of. But slop to me is very choppy. It's very, right? I just, I'm not gonna have that. And I think I've got pretty good at combating slop over the years, and and tracing it down. Here I can tell you exactly, at least what the number one offender is, and that's going to be right here. So I'm going to make a little fix to this. Let's see how much. It's not going to do away with it completely, I don't think. I hope it does, but I don't think it will. It's going to be some other few areas. That's the thing about slop. It's rarely ever just one thing. It's a combination of things. It's a clustered effect. Alright, so I ended up, I tightened this down right here, but same problem. How do I know this is the issue? Well, I'm going to show you here. Let me get you here to focus. This right here should not move, but it is. Now, and it actually did, it took 95% of the soft oil. It was non-energetic. So, yeah, what it was is I had to tighten this down right here. The issue was the screw that was in it was bent, right? So I couldn't fully tighten it, and so it was just, had slop. Took it out, put another one in, we're good to go. Just a little something for you guys. Little things like that make all the difference in the world. And I'll tell you that the shock cap screws are, without a doubt, the screws that I go through the most. For whatever reason, I need to find a good set of strong ones, because I've been in those. And it keeps it moving. Gone into detail several times, the importance between torque and speed, because there always is a trade-off. And I'm one of those that feels speed is as important as torque when it comes to steering. I'm not going to get into all that right now. And I'm going to say, however, that the servos today are pretty much, I think, reaching their terminal use with respect to power and speed. Let me explain. These are fictitious numbers, but let's say to turn on pavement, the minimum torque required, minimum ounces of torque is 100. And by the time you get to 300, there's no resistance left, so it's essentially turning like it's turning on air. So going to, say, 400 ounces of torque, it's not necessarily going to do you any good. You're not going to see an improvement because it only requires so much strength before it no longer needs any additional strength. Now let's talk about speed. Essentially, because speed plays a role in this as well. And let's say to hit that minimum requirement where the tires will even turn it all for the torque, I believe we said it's 100 ounces, and let's say for speed it's 0.24 seconds. Again, just made up numbers here. And to get that effervescent state where it's like turning in air, for speed, it's 0.14 seconds. For torque, it's 300 ounces. And so, while we know there is no benefit to turning any stronger, certainly there's going to be benefits for turning faster. Okay? So, I'm sure that makes sense. And in addition to that, however, today's servos, I believe, are hitting a terminal state to where you can only turn as fast as your hands will allow you. So I have servos that I can't turn it as fast as it possibly can go, just because my muscles in my hand won't allow me to do that. Speaking of servos, sure, some of you might recall about 5 years ago, I published a document that was essentially the logging and analysis that I performed on about 15 to 20 different servos run on 7 to 10 different vehicles. And what it showed me, anyways, and I think I proved it out, was that it's not as cut and dried as torque is for steering and speed is for throttle. It showed that speed is as important on both throttle and steering. Now what's kind of bizarre about this is that some people really bent out of shape. I don't know why, but it is what it is. I'm Of course, you know, I don't care. I just report what I experience, i.e.,
That's all in that ass?
That's all in that
you see, and y'all thought I was only kidding when I said this video sucks. Anyways, part 2's coming real soon. This is going to probably be a 4 or 5-parter. Each one gets worse and worse. But you never know. There might be some hidden gems inside of the videos.